Okay, so I posted on Facebook not that long ago asking everybody what they wanted me to speak on. And I had a few different options, but number 2 was the popular one, and it was how I met Jesus. So I was just going to give you a little bit of my testimony, and I've been thinking about how far back I should be going. So basically, in a nutshell, I was raised in a Catholic church, and I went a lot when I was very little with my grandmother on Sundays. And, at the time, God to me was just this big, powerful, being in the sky that I just never felt a close connection to, but I was afraid of. I don't know how I got this thought into my head, but I always thought that if I did something wrong, God was going to punish me. And so basically, I guess really I was afraid of God growing up, and just afraid to do the wrong thing. And as I got older, I kind of just stopped thinking about God altogether. Got to high school, started hanging out with friends, and then got into the drinking scene and started smoking and all the peer pressure things. I dated my husband now at the time pretty much on and off all throughout high school, and then we broke up. I went away to college. We went our separate ways, and I hadn't talked to him for about 8 years. And then one day I was going for a walk. This is like fast forward a whole lot of things, but I was going for a walk, and I just started thinking about him out of nowhere, and I thought, well, this is really strange. So I ended up just getting this really powerful, kind of desire to just go home and call him. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can't go call him. What if he's married? What if he has a girlfriend? Like, I didn't hear from him in ages, so really I didn't know anything about him. He could have been married for all I knew. And at this time I was probably maybe 21, 22 maybe? I don't even know. Around there. 22 maybe, 23, 22. So anyway, went home, looked up his phone number, and I called him, and the phone was ringing, and I thought, okay, you know what? If the answer machine comes on and it's another girl, then I'm just going to hang up, because obviously I'm not calling to cause, issues. And if he was married or had a girlfriend, then, I didn't want to get in the way of any of that or cause problems, but I just felt that I needed to call him out of nowhere. So it was just his voice on the answering machine, so I left a message, and he called me back. So he called me back, we talked, and so then he ended up coming over one day, and from there we started dating. But in high school when we dated, Dave never went to church, and as far as I knew, he wasn't the church goer. So I found this time around he was acting a little bit strange with me, and I thought, maybe he's just really not interested in me this time. So I, started talking to him, and I'm like, what's going on? I feel like you don't want to get too close to me. You don't really want to kiss me. Like, what's going on? So anyway, and that's when he just told me, you know what, Tara, I am serving the Lord. Like, at this time when I met him again, when we got reconnected, he was on the worship team at church, and this was all new to me, right? So anyway, I could sense a change in him from when I dated him in high school. I thought it was a little bit weird, but again, I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't a believer. So, he asked me Sunday after Sunday, or Saturday after Saturday, do you want to go to church with me tomorrow? And I was like, no. It's my weekend, it's my party time, it's my drinking time. So, and he never gave up. And that's a really strange thing, because, the Lord does say that he doesn't want a believer to start dating or to get involved with a non-believer, because then you're unequally yoked. So I don't want to in any way right now, if anybody's watching this and they're in a relationship, and if you're a Christian and if you're in a relationship with somebody that's not following the Lord and has no desire or no, to step out and to walk in the same faith that you have, then, I just really challenge you to pray about that. And, at the time, the pastor that Dave had spoken to him and said, you know what, the Lord is working on your wife's heart right now. Dave's pastor at the time didn't know me. I'd never been to the church, didn't even know that that he was dating anybody. So I guess this was a confirmation in Dave's spirit that God was working on me and not to give up on me. So one day I did decide to go to church with Dave. I thought, you know what? He told me that if he marries somebody, it's going to be someone that has the same values and beliefs as him. So I thought, you know what? I better start going to church because he's going to leave me if I don't. So started going to church, and the first time I went, it was quite different than a Catholic service or a Catholic, what do you call them? It's not a service in a Catholic church. Well, whatever, okay, so you get my drift. It wasn't the same as going to church in a Catholic church on Sunday morning. There was singing, there was dancing, it was like freedom, right? But to me, it was kind of awkward because that's not what I was used to. I started going back because I really wanted to keep Dave. So people were like, women were hugging me, and I was like, this is really uncomfortable. I was never a huggy type of person. And then one day, the pastor said, you know what, I really feel led by the Spirit, that we should all be going into groups of 2s or 3s and praying with one another. And I'm thinking, good Lord, nobody come near me. I have no idea how to pray. So that's all I could think about, right? And of course, like 2 women flocked to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just wanted to crawl underneath the carpet and just stay there. It was so incredibly uncomfortable. And you know what? They prayed for me, and I never said one word. I never prayed for them, but at the time I didn't realize it wasn't all about fancy words, and basically it was just, speaking your heart. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So anyway, I was having a lot of these experiences at church. So now to get to my point, and this is probably like maybe we're expecting some huge, mind-blowing testimony of how I came to know the Lord, but you know what? I don't even remember the day that I gave my heart to the Lord. All I know is that I continued going to church, and as I continued to go, my heart was just being changed without me even really knowing it, if that makes any sense. I started going not for Dave anymore, but I started to go because I had this hunger and this desire, because I knew that there was more to life than what I knew. I just knew. And I can tell you honestly today, right now, that I love Jesus, and I probably could love him. He deserves to be loved a lot more than I do. And it's a work that God is still doing in my heart, and I know it's about a relationship and just getting into the Word and listening to that still small voice and listening to what Christ has to say to me day to day, and for me to just get outside of my own head and my own plans and just listen to what God has to say to me and go with that. But yeah, so I just fell in love with God, and I don't even really know when it happened, but all I know is that if Dave wouldn't have given up on me, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know. I know God has a plan, and I know that he's called each and every one of us. And it's up to us to make that decision and that choice to say, are you going to follow me? He's asking, are you going to follow me, or are you not going to? So that's just a little bit of how I came to know the Lord. And, it was really uncomfortable at times because, like I said, I wasn't used to it, and I just wasn't used to the whole relationship thing. But anyway, that's my story, and there's way more that's happened since then. I mean, I can tell you that my drinking days are done, and my smoking days are done, and all that stuff is over. But just when you think that you've conquered something, God will start to challenge you on another thing, and it's only for your own good. He's challenging me in a lot of my heart issues right now. A lot of things that I thought back then, if I could quit smoking, then that means I could do anything, because to me that was a real stronghold in my life, something that I was really, really, addicted to. And I'm realizing now that it's such a process. You just get, healed of one thing, and then God moves on to the next thing, but it's for our own benefits. Anyway, now I'm starting to ramble. So really, yeah, that's all that I wanted to say tonight. So hopefully you didn't get too bored, because this has been almost 10 minutes that I've been talking. So anyway, have a good night, and until the next time.